Hey there, this is Shannon, and today we are going to be making laundry detergent. The reason I'm making this video at all is because I have had several requests on how do you make your own laundry soap. And so this is it. This is my tutorial on how to make laundry detergent. So one of the other big reasons why I make my own laundry detergent is because it is stupid cost effective. So for one person to get through 5 gallons is about 6 months. So you have to calculate for your household how much money and how much laundry detergent you go through. So 2 people will go through 5 gallons in approximately 3 months. 3 people will go through 5 gallons in like a month and a half. 4 people with 5 gallons is maybe a month, usually 3 to 4 weeks. So if you go through a lot of detergent because you have a big family and you're spending, I see the prices of these things, $20 and $30 a pop. So my laundry soap cost me for 2 people about $10 to make a year, for a year's worth of laundry soap. Like, I am not, now I do supplement my laundry soap with some other stuff, which I will show you. All of these things have a big variation in them, so you don't have to stick to, oh, it has to be just this way. Like, I'm going to also show you, for a little more cost, other things that you can do to kind of enhance this laundry detergent, because I'm going to tell you, it is super basic bitch laundry detergent. Like, it is gonna get your clothes clean. Like, just, that's it. That's bare minimum. I am gonna show you my own personal variations and discuss how to make it a little bit stronger, a little bit better. But this is like very basic bitch, hypoallergenic, cheap as shit laundry soap. So one of the ingredients in laundry detergent is soap. This is 8 bars of Zote soap. Now, this would usually come in like a package, but I took them out of the package. However, you're not even going to need a whole one for this. All you need is half. So usually I'll buy a bar or 2 at like Walmart or Food Lion or something. But in my area, for some reason, they don't sell Zote soap on the shelves. A lot of other laundry detergents that they like have decided they're just going to take over, so I guess nobody in my area is making their own soap. So we're only going to need a half a bar of this for 5 gallons. And I bought all of these Zote soaps on Facebook Marketplace because I can't find them anywhere near me. And they were only $24.99. Usually in the store, a bar used to be like $6 or $7. It's probably like 10 or 15 now because of inflation. But I got 8 of these in like a bundle pack for $24.99 on Facebook Marketplace. So it is possible to find them cheaper somewhere else. But if you do go into the store, it's on the laundry detergent aisle. So what other supplies are you going to need? Well, one thing is a place to mix once you have your soap. So what I do is I take a really big container because I usually make more than 5 gallons of soap at a time. But if you have a container large enough to hold at minimum 5 gallons, I've seen people use the 5-gallon buckets. You can use something like this. Get creative. I use this because it is self-contained and it will need to be closed off from the air around it. It has to have a lid. So you're going to want some sort of large container to mix all of your soap in when that step comes. While you're not using the container, this is where I store everything that I will need in order to actually make the soap. So I have a really old pot here. I don't care about it whatsoever. It's been in my family probably for generations. You're going to need something to grate the soap with. I will show you that in a minute. And you're going to need several towels. So I'm going to get back to this in just a moment. Hand towel, a washcloth, in here, but I'm probably going to get 2 more large towels. I also have a pillow. You'll figure out why later. This is the Arm & Hammer laundry booster. So hi kitty, hi Spirit. You are going to need 1 cup of this for 5 gallons, and you're also going to need 1 cup of 20 mule borax. You are going to need some sort of scoop. This particular scoop is 1 cup, and on the end is 1 tablespoon. You will need both. I just so happen to have one that has the best of both worlds. Something to stir with, preferably a very long handle. I've also seen people use a setup with a drill before, so if you can jerry rig that. And the last things that I have in here, you're gonna need some sort of bag to store your extra graded soap, because I promise you want to do that in advance, and a funnel. So this is the majority of what we'll need to get started. You're also going to need a lot of empty containers to put all of the soap in. So as many empty containers as you can find that equate to about 5 gallons. So this is approximately 6 gallons worth of empty containers, including the stuff up top. But I am going to adjust my personal formula. However, the first part I am going to show you strictly making 5 gallons. Now you do not have to use actual laundry detergent containers. I have seen people use Hawaiian punch jugs. I've had to use old liquor bottles before, you know, the big 2-liter soda bottles. You can put your soap in any kind of container so long as you have containers to actually put the soap into, so that way you can use it for laundry detergent like kind of more or less normal later. So I also want to mention that both of these boxes are anywhere from like $3 to $5 a piece. I will also say that I've only ever had to purchase these twice. So once about 10 years ago when I started making soap. I've been making soap, my own laundry detergent, for over 10 years. And then once again recently. So like these boxes lasted me about 10 years. Now I will also say I was either living by myself or like with one other person. There usually wasn't many people. If you have a big family, you may have to buy these once every couple of years. But for me, this was like a once in a decade purchase for $3 to $5 is, you know, about $10 for 10 years. Now with inflation, the prices may have gone up on these, but it's still really worth it to make your own soap because this really isn't super expensive and it lasts a really long time. I have these inside plastic bags just because I do store them where the wet soap, the liquid laundry detergent is, and even though I wipe it out really good, after the fact, once I'm done, I still want as little condensation to get in here as possible. It still happens, it just happens to be where I store it. If you want to store it in somewhere much more dry, that is preferable, but because I don't, this is how I try to combat that. Also, if these boxes start to leak in any kind of way, there are bags containing it. And it absolutely helps if you have a friend. I may or may not have someone doing this with me. We'll see as the video progresses, but can do this by yourself, which I probably will end up doing by myself, but it is much easier with 2 people. What I like to do is go ahead and take my pot out and my bar of Zote soap, and we're going to take it out of the wrapper. So this is what it looks like, a full bar of Zote soap, and then you are going to take your grater and you're going to grate the soap into your pot. Now I'm going to do this for a little while. You'll see I'm already starting to get some soap. Once this gets kind of too full and I can't really move in here and it's getting kind of messy to grate, I will take my bag and just dump it in the bag, so that way I can continue grating until it is all done. While I'm doing this, I'm going to grate extra, so that way I won't have to do this again in the future, and it just makes my life easier when I prep for soap making way ahead of time, so that way when it comes time for me to do it, I don't have to do this part, it will already be done. While I am grating soap, I will usually sit back and watch some YouTube or just let the time pass, maybe listen to some music. But right now, I'm about to just watch some YouTube while I grate soap for God knows how long. So now that we've turned this into this, we are going to now cook this and turn it into 5 gallons of liquid soap. You'll want to have your tap running on hot water, and I usually start with one of the jugs. I don't fill it up all the way. I leave some room because this soap before use has to be shaken. So once we refill it with the soap, you'll want to have had enough room in the container to be able to shake up the soap before you pour it. And I'm just going to basically leave this running on the hot setting. Now we come over here and I'm going to turn the burner on low to medium heat. I'm going to go ahead and start filling it up with some of the water. And then I am going to take just a handful of this soap that I've grated. And it's okay that I've spilled a little. It's not that big of a deal. We have towels to clean up as we go. And I'm a really messy person in general as it is, so it's totally fine. But once you do that, you'll want to take your long spoon and start mixing, start stirring it up. And I usually leave another towel for this to sit on while I am not stirring. So while this starts to heat up and go, I am going to come back to my sink and I will fill up, not fill, but I will fill up another jug with a little bit of room with this hot water. And I will take the jug that I had just put some of the hot water in, and into the bucket it goes. Grab your lid, put it on because you don't want the heat really escaping. And I will set this to the side because I know I've already filled that one up. Now this process, you should be able to have somebody doing the water part while somebody else does the mix the soap part. However, I do not have a second person at this time, which is fine. That's kind of how I wanted it anyway. But I'm just going to mix this up on this low to medium heat until everything is dissolved, and I will show you what that looks like as soon as it happens. But you kind of want to mix this as much as you can as you go. And we take our next container, start filling that up with warm water, and take the lid off, dump it in, put the lid back down. We've already done with this, so we're going to set this one to the side and keep mixing. Again and again and over and over and over again. Now you don't want to boil this because it'll get sudsy and soapy and out of hand really quick. You just want to cook it enough to dissolve the soap that you've put in. You could put it at a slightly higher rating, but the higher you have it, the more sudsy it'll end up looking. So you see, it's already got some suds on it. You don't want it to overflow like when you're in a hotel bathroom and you put too much soap in the bath and then it just spreads and spreads and it's like you know, bubble palooza in there. You want to kind of keep the bubbles at bay while you do this. So that's why I use the setting that I use, because any higher and the bubbles can get out of hand really fast. So now you see that this soap is mostly dissolved. It's just kind of got a bit of a milky look, which is what we're looking for. So what we do now is take our pot with our cooked soap and dump it right in. And I'm really not going to mix it up too much right now, because we'll get back to that later. I'm going to take the water that we've already put in our jug to the side. Sometimes we use multiple jugs because the water kind of goes quick. We will grab another handful, place it in, stir it up, and then go back to filling the other jugs and repeat until we are done with this part. So it'll go in looking kind of like this, where you still see pieces of soap, and we don't want that. We want it kind of as dissolved as we can get it for what it is. The reason why you want to mix so much while you do this as well is to avoid clumping, because this can get really clumped up really fast. So you want to mix really well before you walk away for any length of time to prevent it from clumping. Your hands will inevitably get wet or dirty at some point, so I like to have lots of towels and hand towels around just so that I can wipe my hands up as I go, because I will need to. And I'm just going to dump the rest of this in now. And remember, when you're done, cut it off. So, this is now my last jug that I have filled up, and I do it this way just because it helps me measure more efficiently. But if you need to measure with like measuring cups and shit, do whatever you gotta do, sister. So, all of the water is in here. All of the cooked soap is in here. And now, all we need to add is the borax, the super washing soda. So this is what it looks like at this particular moment. And now we get to add the 1 cup each of these, and then I will tell you all of the extras that I add. So we need 1 cup of this. And the only reason mine is a little clumpy is because, like I told you earlier, I keep it in this bucket, even though I try to dry it out real good. But to me, I don't really care for a couple of clumps because I can just figure it out. It'll all end up working itself out, honestly. So that looks like a good full cup plus what I've spilt up here. So I'm just gonna dump that right in. You can go ahead and take this and start mixing that up because it'll clump up really quick in here. And then we will do the other cup of the superwash. So apparently the last part didn't record, but I went ahead and put 1 cup of this inside of my bucket as well. And I said, remember this thing that I pulled out at the beginning of the video that I said we're gonna come back to that? Well, so I had already gone back to it and didn't record it, which is fine, but in that I said I had a manager that I used to work with who had those in the back of her car, and she was trying to find somebody to give them away. And I was like, well, I'll just start putting it in with the laundry soap I already make. One of these little pods is what you're supposed to put in with your clothes regularly. What I do is I just add 2 of them into this mixture of 5 gallons and let it dissolve, and I just mix it in. This is extra stuff that you can do. You absolutely don't have to do it if you don't have the money or you don't want to, but I do it just to strengthen my laundry soap because this is very weak, very hypoallergenic laundry soap at its base. So I do this just to kind of give it a little bit extra. And yes, you do want to mix it this much to really get everything intermingled. So what I used to do before I had the pods was I would just buy a very small one of these and just dump the whole thing in, just to, again, make the laundry soap stronger. You obviously do not have to do that, and if you want to do it, you can choose any small container of laundry detergent that you so choose, but this is just the one that I used to do. I don't do it anymore because I've had the pods for so many years, and once I'm done with the pods, I'm not sure whether or not I'll go back to it anyway. Again, this is just extra, and you can do both. I mean, nobody's telling you that you don't have to do both. You certainly can. The last thing that I do that is considered extra for this soap is bleach. So I do it for the sanitizing and like extra clean effect, but I will only do a very small amount. Usually I'll just do a black splash in, but for this demonstration, I am going to do by the measurements and do 1 little tablespoon of bleach. Again, this is extra. You do not have to do this. You don't have to do the pods. You don't have to buy the extra thing of laundry soap because it will get more expensive. Again, when I got these, they were handed to me for a box of them for free. Occasionally, my laundry will come up with like one of those little baby spots of bleach, but I honestly don't care. I buy most of my clothes at Goodwill. Now that we are all done mixing, I'm going to place the spoon on top of my towel. And by the way, if I had wanted to, for this part of the mixing process, I could have just taken my pillow and leaned on it while I mix, so that way it doesn't hurt my knees because I'm already hurting my back. But I'm absolutely going to use the pillow again. once we fill all of the containers. But for now, we are going to let this sit for at least minimum 24 hours. I prefer 48 or 72. The reason why this now has to sit completely still in a place that is not going to be bothered is because it has to do chemical magic. I'm not a scientist, so I don't know all the details of what all is about to happen, but over the next couple of days, there's going to be a reaction in here. It's not going to explode. You are not going to explode, I promise. There's going to be a chemical reaction in here that will create a very thin layer on the top of this soap that is almost like a gel. So after you get a good layer of that thick top gel, then we will go back and remix this. But for right now, we're going to wait at least at minimum 24 hours. It's probably going to be a couple of days just because I want to set this aside and forget about it. And then in a couple of days, we'll remix and fill up our containers. So I'll see you then. As you see, I've just set my container to the side with all of my supplies. And this is just going to sit until we're ready. All right, so it's been 3 days since I made the soap, and now it is time to see what it looks like, mix it back up, and bottle it. So this is what it looks like, and this is that kind of gel top that I was talking about. So I am going to move this over and into a more proper setting, and we're going to mix it up. Now you see my setup down here. I have my supplies on its own little towel. I have a towel that I am going to put the bin on, and over here in the corner is all of my jugs that I'm going to fill up. I have my pillow here so I can rest my knees on, and an extra towel to help me clean. Now that I have moved my container into the appropriate area on top of a towel, I am just going to stir and mix all of this soap up to break up that gel that was on top of it. Ideally, you would want 2 people for this as well, and you take your hand towel and dry yourself off, but I don't have 2 people. Now, a lot of you would say just dunk it in and let the jug fill up, but I promise it's not going to do that. What is going to happen is it'll get most of the way, but you still have work to do. So ideally, you would want somebody holding the jug with the funnel in. And regardless, you're gonna kind of have to do this part anyway. So you will take your scoop and scoop it in. The reason why I don't like doing the dunk it method is because you'll see on the side of this how absolutely wet all of this is. That is going to have to be cleaned up anyway. So you'd have somebody holding your jug and your second person doing the scoop and mix. And you want to continue mixing throughout this process as you scoop everything into your container. So now it is mostly full. We're leaving just that little bit of room so that when you have to shake your detergent, it'll have room in there to shake up. I'm just going to clean this up because it is wet and nasty. And I'm also going to clean my lid because that looks a bit rough as well from all the other years of making soap. And ta-da! Now we are going to do this with all of the other containers that we have. And I'm just setting this on the corner of this just to see if any more comes out, but we're still leaving just that little bit of room to shake it up. And as I get closer to the bottom, I just lean it back. So that way I can continue getting soap and I don't have to scrape for it. All right. And now that we've come to the end, I'm just going to tilt this up and down. And this is why I don't do it this way, because it makes a bit of a mess. And this last one is a little full, but that's okay because I keep an extra empty container just for the excess, because there will always be just a little bit of excess somewhere. So I keep one for the extra. This one is so dirty. Oh my goodness, I need to clean this up so bad. Now that I am done with my container, I'm just going to wipe it out with one of the extra towels that I have. And the good news is there's only soap on these towels, so when you're done with them, all you have to do is throw them in the washing machine, and you really don't have to put any extra soap in there because they're going to get clean. But what I'm going to do this time around instead is I'm going to lay the towel on the bottom, and I'm going to fill it with all of my supplies. And I'm going to wipe my supplies off because I know they're a little wet. And this specific rag I'm going to put in the washing machine just because it is a little too wet to go in here. But I will add another towel to go in here for next time. Speaking of, I will take the towel I had on the floor, pop it in, and I can't forget what I left over here that I'm going to set in as well. And one other thing. Lastly is my already pre-shaved Zote soap. So I have 2 empty bags in here. That's just to symbolize and tell me that I have 2 5 gallons worth. I have 10 gallons worth in here. So when I go to use this, I'll just use half, and then I'll take the empty packet out to remind me that I still have 1 5 gallons worth left of soap in here. So I try to do this ahead of time, and that is one of the last things that I will put inside of my container, and then I just close it up, and this is going to go back in the laundry room where I had it. Alright, now that everything is back where it needs to be, I am going to finish and show you how I do my laundry. So I made a video a couple of weeks ago about one of my favorite products. These are the laundry scented beads, my absolute favorite. I'm just going to put a small half of one of these cups right inside the washing machine. And now you obviously don't have to buy that, you don't have to do that. It's just a personal preference. Yes, I pay a little bit more, but it does help my clothes smell a bit fresher. And I am going to put all of my laundry in. That was the rag with the soap on it that, you know, is kind of too wet to put back in the bucket and needs to be cleaned. And I'm going to just stuff everything else in here, close my lid, and I always wash on cold water because it saves money. Now, what are we doing? So, I'm going to shake, 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 and I'm going to put 3 lids in, because again, this soap isn't that strong, and even though that one rag had soap on it, it's just not very strong soap, so you do need just a little bit more, and that's how you make laundry detergent. Like if you appreciated this tutorial, follow, etc. I do readings mainly, but I also do other cool videos if you're interested in. I hope you learned a lot here. Thank you so much for watching. Good luck to all of you for making soap. If you have any questions, reach out. Peace out, fam.